bobbing time.
4. Yeah. What you're gonna do here? Oh, I bought some stuff.
Oh yeah. My teacher used to have one of those in elementary school.
Can I get it? Looks okay. No.
No.
Gross. Bob. 18 inches.
Mm-hmm.
So we kind of just picked a reference point. I think we went from the taillight opening. It's curved. There's nothing really straight, but you just pick something and you go with it. So ran our first tape line nice and straight. Then we measured from outside to outside, made a bunch of marks with a Sharpie, and then put our tape line on those lines. So we've got a perfect 18 inches in between. Even if this one's going at an angle, this one's going at the same angle. That way when they meet back up, they'll touch. So we'll cut down until we see it on the inside, and then once we see both little cut marks on the inside, we'll snap a chalk line along the floor, and that's how we'll deal with the floor part. Yeah, not much to it. Take lots of time measuring, because the more time you spend measuring, the less time you'll have to spend fitting. Because no one likes to weld huge gaps. So anyway, we got this side taped out. Sharpie. So I like to burn an inch. I'll burn 1 inch, and then we're going to mark it at 19. And we'll make 3 or 4 marks, probably 4. The more the better.
Need me to hold it?
No, you just work that camera.
So much work.
19. Burn an inch. 19. We're gonna have to do some work here because we're starting to get into a body line. I've only done these 12 in the past, but that frame has been cut so far down because it never had a bed. It was all like kind of truggy style. We're gonna have to go a little heavier on the bob job. So 19. Did I do one? I already rubbed it off. Probably. 19, 19, 19. I guess we'll get one up here. Oh shit, did I burn it? You always gotta make sure you're burning your inch and you're adding it. And then go back and double check everything. Like, did I screw this one up? See, I did. I fucked this one up. That's why you double check everything. I forgot to. Oh no, I'm fucking on the wrong side of the tape. See? 1 and 19. I didn't fuck it up. I fucked it up the second time. Burning an inch, 19. Burning an inch, 19. Burning an inch, 19. Burning an inch, 19. 19. Okay. You definitely don't want to go an inch off because you're like, whoa. And then you're, oh boy. Get started on that.
Done that before?
Yes. That's why I'm not a wood guy. Because metal, you can glue it back together when you screw it up. It's within an acceptable amount Metal you can always weld back together. Wood. Okay, so big ass death wheel, I think.
Yeah.
Or we can do Sawzall. I like the death wheel. It stays straighter. It stinks a lot more, but we'll do death wheel as much as we can, and then
Death wheel. Damn. Streamline.
cigarette butts.
There was like at least 500 of them.
Yeah, pull the
Before.
bed liner out. In the corner. The guy must have had a habit of putting the cigarette butts under the bed liner. Disgusting. Disgusting. Let's drop this right there. Drop that. Right there.
No. Cut it.
No, because the velocity of the sparks coming out of here will blow your line off. So you got to mark it with a Sharpie. Otherwise the dust will blow away. Just kind of like maybe every other one. Just be wiping the chalk into the Sharpie. Somewhere in there. This one, I'm not sure if this is going to get in here as well.
Voila.
Okay, just do that again and you're done.
Garbage.
Hey man, sell that on eBay. You ruined a perfectly good truck.
Oh, come on.
Hear it now. So what's that turning into? Like a 3.5 footer? Now it's like a 4 and 6 inch, probably. 4.5. Yeah, I can't get the saw or the blade all the way on this. I want to cut. Oh, now we gotta.
Is it gonna crank?
Yeah, we gotta cut it for the shackles. I've had to do that before too.
You're gonna make it super ugly though?
Well, it's gonna be open,
Yeah.
but you'll have a bumper on here.
Yeah.
So, yep. I have to cut it for the shackles.
It looks cool now.
We'll do that later after we get it all side to side, because I don't want to cut it and then shift it over in the field.
Yeah, it's not even welded up. I think we changed the name to Bob White. Because she's bobbed and, well, she's mostly white, but anyway, got our bob job tacked up. Not really, but just hanging there. So we're gonna get all this paint cleaned up. And we're gonna get this all put together and work on our fit a little bit, because we don't want to weld these big old gaps. So we'll go through and trim out some of the areas that are touching. That way it'll close our gap up. So we'll work on that. Get this guy all welded up. That'll be one more thing off the list. And the kid is going to work on the frame after school a little bit, getting all the little holes and crap capped off and then ground down. We'll paint it. We can throw the bed back on and kind of be done with the back end of this thing for a little while. Then we can get the bed on, mount the battery box, the fuel cell, and start plumbing, because by the time he's done with the back, I think I'll probably be done with the front frame rails and maybe have the engine mounted. That's the plan anyway. So yeah, got a whole shop full of wheelers now. My brother's new rig. I don't know if we're gonna do any video on that. It's a Tundra on 1 tons and got a Northwest Tab black box and a 205 hooked to the stock 2UZ. Kind of cool. So, all right, just thought I'd stop for a second, show some progress. We got everything all lined up nice and flat. We got some differences in body lines and stuff, but we'll just have to kind of trim and tuck that as we go. Pretty terrible fit over here on this side. We're just gonna have to deal with it. Not too bad. Got a nice banana and a Coke there. The undercoating, the paint on the underside lights on fire every time you hit a tack, so you know, it's been kind of a biatch to, you gotta keep blowing the fire out. And anyway, not the prettiest thing in the world, but these Toyotas, the frame light comes in and at an angle all at the same time. So getting a square frame to a crooked, anyway. So usually what I do is I'll make like a 2-inch slice on all 4 corners, and I'll kind of open it all up, get that baby in there, and then we'll tack and hammer the gap closed as we tack, and then we'll weld all the seams up, and then we'll fish plate probably just the outside and maybe the top and bottom, I think is how I did it on the last one. Like way stronger than the stock frame rail. Like we're going up to 3/16, plus we're gonna have probably a 3/16 fish plate. Like it's gonna be insane. So right now we're just gonna kind of slide it in there, mock it up. I might need to cut some of this tail off, and we'll have to kind of clean out inside the frame rail. It's all full of mud and shit in there, but we're gonna get this thing on some blocks. That is a huge step. Probably went too far.
Okay, we drilled some holes for some rosettes. Made our 4 cuts. Open the frame up ever so slightly. And we'll see how far this will slide in now. Probably not very far. Probably have to get. Okay. Okay, so put my digital angle finder on the bottom of the frame so that we can get our step level with the bottom of our frame. So we're gonna get that shimmed up first. Then we'll work on square. Shim, shim, shim. Whoop. 1/2 degree. .2, that's pretty good. I think we'll leave that right there for now, and let's work on getting it square, and then we'll come back and see where we're at. As you can see down here what we're fighting all kinds of weird angles, but we'll get it tacked and then we start beating these down and closing it up, and then we'll do a nice fish plate. And anyway, where'd my hammer go? There it is. So the reason I use digital angle finder, not level, because the truck's probably not level, right? Too many variables. So I'll zero this on a known good point on the truck. So like the back of the frame rail has a nice beefy cross member that I welded in a long time ago. It's nice and flat. So I zeroed it on that, and we'll come up to the front and we'll match the front cross member to the rear cross member. You know, and there might be some variances as the frame rail, you know, goes under the truck, but as long as the front and the rear are the same, then, you know, it should sit flat and all that good stuff. So we're showing a 1/2 degree up on this corner. And that's probably because my little cut, you know, I didn't hammer it down as much as the other side. So we hit that like that. Probably way too much, because now we're 0.3 the other direction. So you just kind of got to play with it. Okay, we're flat. We're within 0.05, which is better to be from the factory. So we're going to go to a known point. So body mount, we're 56.5. Body mount, 56 5/8. So this side needs to get tapped in just a little bit. Still about an 8 to go. And 56 and a 16th. 16th is going to be plenty good. Yeah, we're good. Okay, are we still level? Probably not. We are if we just kind of hold down on it. Okay, so we're straight, we're level. I like it. We're going to tack it. We're going to tack it, and then we're going to do it all over again. I'm gonna go put some earplugs in so I don't launch one of these hot berries in here now. Since we're underneath. Okay. Okay. still level. Still at 56.5. Clamp it as much as we can so we're not moving crap around. Try to close up some of this gap with the clamp first. I just want some more weld on here before I start moving stuff. Before I start beating on stuff. Okay. Clamped. Oh, come on. All right, so now that's tight to the frame. Get rid of our clamp. Away now. 2. Now we can get to our rosettes. They're nice and flat. We're gonna have to take a Sawzall and we're gonna have to trim some of this meat out of here to get everything to kind of close up. So we'll probably go to the other side and get that kind of locked in a little more. Cool. All right, let's go to the other side. Okay, frame is together. Well, that's what we ended up with. We ended up making some changes because our first rendition was just way too tall, and so we cut her down, kind of reshaped it, got the step a little closer to the body. So now we're making some templates with some masking tape. We'll radius all these corners, and we'll do probably some 120 1/8 inch little fish plates. We'll do them inside and out, and probably gonna cut these old shackle hangers off. It's like, yeah, original, then we moved the front end forward, then we 3-linked it. We've got all kinds of interesting stuff going on, so I think we'll trim those off flat and weld all those holes up. So try to get as much strength as we can back in this thing. Another thing we're going to do is we're going to take some 1 3/4 because that'll sit nice on top of the 2-inch, and we'll cap the top of this. We'll come down and tie it into the frame, top and bottom. So way overkill, but my rig's usually not the one out broken on the trail, so seems to be working out for me just fine. Hey Google, turn off. Whew, that was a close one. Okay, all the plating is done. Bottom tube cap, little grinder work, should be looking sexy. Plenty strong, 3/16 with 1/8 fish plates. I mean, that's like what, 5/16 total, and then you got a little 1/4 inch top plate tying that together. Yeah, it ain't going nowhere. The frame will break off behind that before that'll happen. Anyway, on to the next task. I want to get the motor in. We can't do that because I dropped this Turbo 400 and I broke the bell housing off. So that's really cool. Luckily, they make these. Thank the Lord, they make these. So, I already jumped the gun here. Oh yeah, we're just sending all the chips right down its throat there. That's cool. Well, that pan's gonna come off anyway, I guess, but I don't know, maybe we should, like, I don't know, jam something in there. Okay.
Go on a 400, the 17 3/4 from the back of the case. So probably make some marks around it. It's pretty self-explanatory. It's just going to come right up to this edge of this pump face. So pretty much you can just kind of eyeball it around. But Super Bell. Okay, she's on. I don't get their instructions. It says 17 3/4 from the rear of the case to the front. This is like 17 and I don't know, like 7/8, and there's still a huge gap. I watched some other guys online and they get theirs like pretty tight. I don't know, it probably doesn't matter, but it's gonna fill with dirt and crap, so I might fill it full of silicone. Or not, I don't know. I mean, it's all sealed and O-ring and stuff, but it's just kind of doesn't look that great. Anyway, here she is. There's some little O-rings that go in between the pump and the bell. But yeah, we got a bell housing again, so that's cool. A little LS swap hack for some of you guys. This is a Pioneer FRA 450, which is a stock LQ4 flex plate. So it's already got the spacer, so you don't need any kind of like LS swap flex plate. Just get this FRA 450, comes with the spacer. You will need the longer bolts if you're changing out one of these dished ones. So anyway, you don't need like a $150 or $200 swap one. The only thing you need to make sure is set your converter in the hub, and I think on a couple converters I've had to take a die grinder and just waller out the hole just a little bit, maybe like 1/8 of an inch to get the converter bolts to line up. But anyway, we'll check that right now, and we'll get this stuff all put together. Okay, test fitting our flex plate here. Pilot hub, perfect. Bolt holes, perfect. So this one's gonna work out good. So this is good to go ahead and go on the engine. Engine installed. I was gonna like time lapse it or video it, but I was kind of afraid I was gonna run the camera over, so it's getting a little tight in here. Anyway, I mean, it is what it is. So what I did here is I welded a piece of angle iron along the bottom of the frame there, and I put a little 1/4 inch shim spacer to get the pan up off the angle iron. That way we can like flat belly this thing so we don't have anything hanging below the frame. Make it easier to build cross members and stuff like that. So it's a little more forward than I normally do, but I didn't want to modify the tunnel, and this bell housing's a little thicker in a little different shape. Normally I get these heads back another couple inches, a little closer to the firewall, but since the frame is stretched a little bit, we got lots of room in the front. So I'm not too worried about space. I'd rather make it so the bell housing bolts and everything are all nice and easy to get to. So we could have dropped it down a little bit and went back, but again, I wanted it flat bellied, so that's where it ended up. So basically, yeah, set the back on that angle iron and that supports the tranny. Then we go back there and we measure side to side, make sure the tail shaft is in the kind of center of the cab. And then we set the angle finder on the frame here. Reference that at 0. And then I go ahead and I put it up on the engine. And we're at a quarter of a degree of fall. I wanted about a degree, but after all the sag happened in the mounts, we ended up pretty much flat. But that's okay, because if you get too much angle, like, it helps the rear drive shaft, but it makes it way worse for the front. And the front's the shorter of the two, so I mean, the engine being flat is actually going to help with our pinion angle, drive shaft angle on the front axle. So I'm okay with being flat or straight with the frame. So we're all good there. And then I'll level it up on the front. I just use these water pump bolts. That's a good reference point. So you can zero it out. Then you're at 0 there. Huh. And as far as motor mounts, just a universal eBay kit. Just trim the ears to fit. Got them all tacked in there. Do not fully weld everything until you triple check that you like it, because cutting stuff sucks. So anyway, I like it. I like where it's at. Should be good. The front end's going to be pushed out too, so we should have plenty of oil pan clearance. So yeah, this thing's got a motor. That's exciting. So we'll get these mounts all welded up and probably do a little top gusset or something on there, pretty it up. And yeah, plenty of clearance for the intake. Like shitloads of hood clearance. Bob White, engine installed, check. Oh yeah. Set some shit down here. Look at those pretty mounts. Pretty happy with everything, with how it's sitting. I should do like some fender exit headers, man, like straight out, and that'd be pretty cool. Be loud, stink like hell. Anyway, big strides. That's a big one there. That's a big step. Next will be, yeah, probably cut this one here, but next video will be the kid has got to finish filling all these holes, getting this frame all sexy. We'll paint it, then we'll throw the bed back on. And then I think I got a notification that Summit's going to be here today. We got a fuel cell, Walbro pump, intake pump. We got a battery box. So we will get the bed on. We will start mounting stuff, start plumbing. My Terminator X is going to ship. I think it's supposed to ship today. So we'll have a battery to start wiring from. Still waiting on axle shaft, so we can't do anything with the front axle yet. So I think we're going to steer towards getting the engine fired up. And yeah, getting that all plumbed. So yeah, I'm still waiting for my Magnum box to ship, so we can't really do anything on T-case. Oh, and the torque converter didn't fit the new J&W bell housing. 13-inch stock converter does not fit. So, waiting on a torque converter too. This is, it's getting out of hand. But, that's okay. We're in the shit now. Too late to, nothing we can do about it but keep forging ahead. Thanks for watching.